Hi guys, so today we worked in the Your Turn practice workbook. We started on page 171. This is a review of your vocabulary words. What did the boy do when he twisted his body to avoid being tagged? Squirmed. Squirm means to twist and turn your body. I squirmed my way through the hole in the fence. Squirmed. What word describes what a light is doing when it is shining? Gleaming. A bright shining light, gleaming. The water in the pool was gleaming due to the light of the sun. What profession uses knowledge for practical use? Profession is a job. Engineering. Engineering is a job that uses scientific knowledge for practical use. She had to study engineering to learn how to build a bridge. What did the eagle do when it flew in search of food? Scouted. Remember how we talked about going out to find information and bringing the information back? She scouted the area looking for food. We scouted out the best place for a game of tag. So we went and looked for the best place to play tag. What is another word for a period of 10 years? Decade. I have been alive for almost a decade. We talked about how students in grade 4 are 1 decade old. Most of you are 10 years old. What is the coach doing when he is giving instructions to the team? Directing. Directing means to tell someone which way to do something. Yesterday, I saw a policeman directing traffic. He tells traffic which way to go. What is another word for puttering? Puttering means tinkering. Tinkering means to do something in an aimless way in an attempt to fix something. We had some free time, so we started tinkering with my model plane collection. They began to mess with the model plane collection. What word means the use of science for practical purposes? Technology. Computers and cars are excellent examples of technology. Remember, we talked about how science is used in ways that is useful to us in ways that we use in our daily lives, like the computer, cars, the telephone. All right, that's our review for the vocabulary words that we did together in class. Okay, you should write these in your turn practice book on page 171. Next, we went to page 176, where we read the short story together and we discussed the answers. Let's read it together now and discuss the answers together. Starting work on the Brooklyn Bridge. I met the head of my work crew, Mr. Calloway. He told me about the occasions on the bridge's foundation, where I'll be working. The occasions are locked chambers at the bottom of the river, where workers dig down to the bedrock so the foundations can be placed. The pay's good because it's so dangerous down there. Mr. Calloway said. Dangerous? Because of flooding, I asked. No, because the caissons are filled with high-pressure air to keep water from filling the work area, Mr. Calloway replied. Some guys work down in the caissons too long and come to the surface too fast. The change in pressure gives them terrible pains, called Cajun's disease. It has killed 2 workers since 1870, Mr. Callahan explained. So there's a high-pressure air chamber underneath the water, and when the people work inside for a long time and they come back to the surface, the pressure for the air the change in the pressure is too much for them and they get sick. Some people have terrible aches and pains, and 2 people have died from what's called Cajun's disease, from being down underneath the water in those chambers with the pressure pushing on them and then coming to the surface and the difference affecting their health. Now, how do we know that this is historical fiction? The author tells us a story that includes facts. He talks about the story and an actual event that happened before. The Brooklyn Bridge was actually built. The Brooklyn Bridge was built with Cajuns. So these are facts about how the bridge was built and how the workers worked there. During which historical event does the story take place? It takes place during the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. We can tell that from our heading. What literary element is included in this piece of historical fiction? There's a conversation between Mr. Calloway and the worker. So the conversation is dialogue. We can tell that because it's written inside quotation marks. What does the literary element add to your understanding of the text? It lets you know more about the characters by telling you their exact words. We know exactly what the character said. So it tells us a little bit more about our characters. All right, that's it for our genre review. Remember, historical fiction is based on a historical event. So some of the information is factual because the event actually did happen, but the characters are often made up. They weren't actually there when it happened. The story is written using information we know about what happened that day. All right, so historical fiction part is true, based on history, part is made up. Okay, next we went to page 172 in the Your Turn practice workbook. If you recall, at the beginning of our story, The Moon Over Star, May's grandfather did not think the space program was a good idea. But May was very excited about the space program, and she was very informed. She knew lots of information about this program. She wanted to grow up one day and be an astronaut herself. So at the beginning, she's standing next to Grandpa, and she puts her hand inside his hand, and she holds his hand, and she says that she's praying for the astronauts. If you remember, she makes a prayer that they'll be safe, and then she starts to think about the astronauts' kids. And she says, please bless the astronauts' children too. So we can tell from the fact that May prayed for the astronauts, and May thought about the astronauts' kids, and then she prayed for those kids as well, that May is concerned, she's worried about the astronauts' safety. So we can tell from these three details that May's point of view is that she's worried about the safety of the astronauts. Okay, remember, point of view is how the character thinks or feels. All right, that's it for our reading review today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.